Morning, folks. Today is Friday, March 15th. If you're a corporation, you got to do your taxes. That's me. Oh, man. Okay, Andy, it's all yours. This is WX Live, webinar number 55, and Andy Stapleton is going to do translation component that he's been working on.
All right. Good morning,
And
everybody.
if you need to see and don't want to see the chat and the attendee, just hit the full screen at the top right of the webinar pod, and then you can go back and forth even in the recording. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Andy.
Okay. Well, let's define what the problem is. And the problem is, right now my wife needs her necklace put on. But anyway.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, well, yeah. What the deal is that we are working further and further into a global world, so we're able to use translations. And one of the nice little features that WinDev has is it allows you to put multiple languages into your program. The problem with it is that how do you get those in there without, in essence, keeping a web page open on the side and typing it in twice, cut and pasting, going crazy, things like that, or purchasing their $500 dongle that is supposed to do the translation. Let's go through their dongle because I bought it. It is a very nice tool. Okay. It was a very good tool. It does generate out or pull out all of the prompts and messages and everything that WinDev has to allow you to translate that. The problem with it is that it doesn't translate it. All it does is pull it out and put it in. Now, if you're French, it will translate French because they give you a dictionary for French, but they don't give you a dictionary for any other language. So you're still kind of stuck with the same situation. You've got a listing of all of these items here that needs to be translated, and you still got to find somebody that can translate them. Simple as that. So part of the thing is how do you get that going? We know we got Google Translate. We've got Bing Translate. We got several different translators that are out there. And the problem with it is that we need to have some methodology that makes this easier to work with. So what I did was I created a component that went out to Google Translate, sent the text that you have, and it returns it in the language that you want. So in essence, what it is an on-the-fly translator for you. You can put any text in there and return it that way. The way you do that is you have to go to your Google APIs, and I currently have a couple of them now. I do the Google Maps, and I do the Tracks, and I deal for the Android developer, so I've already got a Google API set up. And all I did was turn on the fact that I wanted to use one of the services, which is the Google Translator. I think it's down here. Yeah, I did turn on the Google Translate API. Now, you have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it's 2,000 or 20,000 or 20-something million, a bunch of characters a day. So you don't have to worry about overloading the thing and getting billed a bunch of money, but you do have to put in your credit card and things like that in order for them to say, well, if you go over 50 million characters a day, you're going to get, or 20 million characters a day, 2 million characters a day. It's 2 million, I'm sorry, it's 2 million characters a day. Then you'll have to pay the extra fees, okay? And that's what it is. As you can see right now, I am right there, 28 periods. This is all we got is requests, and everything is pretty much it. So once you've done that, you get this long, funky key that you got to put in your program. The component that I built is a very simple component. This is, let me go over here because this is not the one I want. Yeah, that's the one I want. This is the one I want. All it does is very simply does an HTTP request, calls and gets the result, and returns the value to whatever called it. That's all it does. And that's all it needs to do. Call in the HTTP, Google APIs, language translate with the key, the source, the target, and the actual text itself. That's it. And I'll be putting this component up there on open source so that way anybody can use it if they want to. In order to call this component, because you may want to use it in different methods, is you have another little program, which is my CCS Translate EXE, which basically takes my key, I've got it set to English, going to Spanish. I'm getting the command line from WinDev, and then I'm looking to make sure it ain't got no ampersands in it because it will automatically put ampersands in it, and then I send it to my component and return the rip val and put it in the clipboard. That's it. We're done. This is not very hard at all. What that does now is you've got to set it up inside your window or inside your environment to make it work. That's what you got to do. You got to set it up inside your environment and make it work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Tools, we're going to go Options, General Options of WinDev, and we're going to go Translation. We have 4 different items here. We have None, WDIXO, that's the dictionary type thing that you can build from the exports, custom, and via internet. Okay? I tried at one time trying to do the internet, but it never did work for me. So I did the custom. As you can see, I've got the call to my CCS Translate. It's sending stuff. When I drop that down, you can see that I've got it saying on the command line, and then I return it to the clipboard. That's where I'm going to get it from. Okay? I've tried a couple of other ones. None of them really puts it in there. I still have to hit Control-V, but it does work. So the only thing that I'm going to be working on now is actually sending which languages that I'm working with. As you can see, your source here says English to Spanish. Now what this does is that when we get into the actual area that we're actually doing it, it will clear out the Spanish version and try to paste it in the Spanish section. That's it. To look at it again, all we're going to do is on the command line from the clipboard, configure, and div. So let's change this because he wanted me to add a new thing to the menu. And I'm going to add afterwards. Option description. This is going to be testimonials. And I'm going to hit the little translate button down here. When that happens, you'll see it blanks out. Hit Control-V, and you can see the Spanish version is posted right in there. I'm done with it.
No way.
Way. Just as simple as that.
So if you have multiple languages,
well, yeah, that's the problem that we're running into. What I plan on doing for it, and I'll get that done today. There'll be another. I'll set up the code, the raw code for the CCS Translate, so you can do whatever you want. What I plan on doing on mine to do a different language is to go back into here, and if my option, if I'm looking at, say, I have German as an example, I'm going to put in EN, GR, and then type it in the first time. What that'll do is that'll pass that string to our EN, comma, GR, comma, and what that'll do is pass that string to my EXE in that method, just like that. I'll look for those commas, okay? And if I've got them, that means I'll change the language, and then from then on, the language will be English to German. You with me?
No.
Okay. If you can see here, in here, I have English and I have Spanish.
I see.
So if I do an EN, comma, GR for German in the command line, all I'm going to do is take those 2 lines here, and I'm going to write them to the registry. I'm going to write them to an INI file. I'm going to write them to something that says this is the current language I'm working with. Okay?
So you're only going to do one language at a time then?
Well, can I do them all? Probably. The problem with it is it's going to come back in the clipboard, and you'd have to basically append them together in the clipboard and send them all back at the same time. I mean, it's flexible. You can do whatever you want.
Oh,
That's
then you
the
just
reason
have
why
to
I
cut
put
and
them on.
paste,
Yeah.
right?
Right, right. The other method that I'm building right now, and this is, I think this is probably going to be the coolest piece. I am building a repository for all of the different words on my database. As I go through this, I'm going to be storing these from English to whatever language and what I sent and what our result came back. Okay? And later on, because of just going through this and being of attrition with different words and things like that, I'll end up with a complete repository dictionary on my database of all the different, whatever languages I translate to, and then I can just put them all in, tell it I want.
Well, why couldn't you set that up ahead of time and then?
Well, you got to know all the languages first.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, but you're gonna, the other idea is to stay underneath the 2 million a day so you don't get charged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes.
Hey,
And
there's
right
2
now, I
questions.
only do Spanish. I don't have to do another language. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time we're not doing 6 languages on the screen. Now,
That's
you want to
true.
see how this works? It's real simple. You should notice that I've got here a Spanish flag, and inside the code, you'll see that. No, I missed it. Sorry. Let's go back to that screen. I forgot. Go for that. What it does is I give it the nation Spanish, and page use again. So when I run this and refresh everything. Now this does it for full sentences too, by the way. And I'll show you that in a minute. As you can see, here's the website currently running. Everything's in English. Okay? I hit the Spanish button, and everything now is in Spanish. Everything got changed to Spanish. And this is all from doing what I just did.
Nice.
Wolfgang, you're right. It will try to clear and paste in the current language. You'd have to go to the help and change it there as well. I should have a Canadian flag up there too. You want me to translate to Canadian? French Canadian? There is a French Canadian.
Hey?
Everything ends in A. So this is all I've done is I took every bit of the text and just did what I just did there. Okay? So in essence, what happens is everything switches back and forth. I've got this. I didn't do track your load. Let's do that one too, because I did forget that one. Let's do the track your load, and we can see how that is. So we'll go to pages. We'll go to main, because I forgot to do that and get it published. And I've done this in WinDev as well as WebDev, so both of them have worked fine. It hasn't been an issue. All I'm going to do now is hit the translate. Okay. And back and do. There we go. Let's run that again.
I wonder how it would work with. I wonder how it would work with the Asian languages. Pretty good.
Actually, well, you're supposed to be able to get back. I don't know exactly how the cut and paste of the clipboard would work with that. You may have to change it a little bit, but see, there's
especially when it's up and down and right to left.
But it does return symbols. Google Translate will return the symbols. So it hasn't really been an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So bottom line is what you got here is another very simple way to change languages, even if you don't know the language. And I'll tell you, other than I know how to curse in about 7 different languages, but I don't know, and I know how to order coffee in Spanish. That's about it. Even though I'm Texan, and I just never really learned Spanish other than knowing when they were very mad at me or I needed to order coffee or cerveza. That's it. That's about it. I rely on my wife that can speak both languages. So, in essence, this has allowed me to change it directly over to Spanish without an issue myself, and I did all of these screens.
Are you telling me where you had driver's corner is now?
Yeah.
Still, the word corner is the same?
It is. Is this the same? I actually thought it made a mistake twice, but it didn't. No.
Amazing,
you see, all of this text and everything is all just doing that exact same thing. All I did was highlight it and hit the button, have it translate, and come back.
That makes it kind of easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Chris likes your site. He says nice.
Thank you.
Is your brother-in-law happy?
He's very happy with it. We're not quite up yet. We're still in a little bit of construction. I've got 2 more pages to finish, but it'll go up here in the next few days, and it'll be up and running. Because one of the things that we've got to do here is we're going to be setting this call right here to Google Maps API to show where the current truck is or their load is, so a customer can find the load. And there's one other thing too. A couple of interfaces to the database that's going to show up.
Well, they got GPS or do they?
Yeah, all the trucks do now. All the trucks and trailers have GPS on them. So what happens is about every 15 minutes, the truck pings where it's at. Mm-hmm. They could set a time frame on it to ping where the truck is at, and all I do is go into the database, and it's got a listing of the route basically that they've been on, and I could take the whole thing, and I could actually give you a route of where it started and how it got to where it's going, where it currently is. From there. The other thing is I'm working on a routing package where it would, where you could put in 4 or 5 addresses and it'll give you the best route for those 4 or 5 addresses through the Google Maps. Mm-hmm. That's the other part I'm working on.
Might as well make use of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, because in the tire industry, when you're delivering, or delivery industry at all, if you're delivering stuff, you save fuel if you can map your routing correctly, or be able to change your routing on the fly. Because that would be the other thing is go in there and say, oh, we added a new address in here that has to be done, reroute. So.
Nice. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is not a very big one, not a very long one.
But it is one.
It is one. It is one, that's for sure. I will be putting both. I will be putting the source code for the CCS Translate up there so you can do whatever you want to do with it. I'll be putting up the component up there as well. And basically, I'll put in a little bit of structure this morning, and so that way you can read it and know what's being called. And I'll take out my API key because you can't have it. And
I was gonna just copy and paste yours.
Yeah, that's what you get. Yeah. I know you would too.
I'd eat it up.
See, the deal is that I can go up there and change it right now if I wanted to, and just have a different API key, and that one would be gone.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Is there no better method than the clipboard to return the text? I did it via the clipboard because I knew that would work, Chris. I have not necessarily attempted or tried it any other direction yet.
What
Okay.
direction would you do anyway?
Well, there's two others that you got in there. If you go into the tools and the options,
Were you?
what I really want them to do is I thought they would actually send me the English to Spanish in the clipboard. They do not. The only thing you get is the text itself. Okay. So in essence, you've got those three options: no action, which doesn't help you any, via the clipboard as a copy. So in essence, it's putting it in the clipboard, and you would have to do that, or on the command line. Well, the command line was the easiest method for me to get it. Okay. Method to retrieve it: no action means it ain't going to do anything, but in my program, I still got it in the clipboard. It makes no difference. From the clipboard paste, obviously, and this is the problem with it, is they're faster with the paste than what the exe returns. Has the value in the clipboard, so it literally is too fast. And by simulating a copy paste, both of those are basically the same. So I haven't. That's the only thing that has come back so far, Chris. And it'll work, but you're still using the Control V. Now, the other thing that I've done as far as the send key is concerned, sending it to it on the particular item, is that on WinDev, I'm going to choose the keyboard key and I hit Control T. So I have Control T for translate on any of these items. And so if I come in here and let's get rid of that and just show you again and hit Control T, I come back down here.
So you got to be on that line, that English line when you.
Well, I don't know. Let's do Control V and let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's see here. If I hit Control T here, what happens? I don't think it did anything. Yeah, it does. It still works.
Huh. So it didn't matter. It always pulled the primary guy?
Well, see, you're telling it in that other options that I'm doing from English to Spanish. Now, you got to be careful, because if I said American to Spanish, it would blow up because there's no American.
Oh, so you got to be really careful what you have as your base then.
Yeah, there's your base there. You got to make sure that that's what you're doing. You're doing the correct base to the area you want.
Mm.
Okay. Now, I think that there could be some good improvements on this. I think that, as far as I think it should send the from and to languages, things like that as part of the parameters. But obviously, it's not doing that. But it is a whole lot easier than what I was trying to do.
Can't you just replace that British flag with the American flag and be done with it?
I can certainly go up to the project and change it and get rid of the British flag, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what Pete does all the time.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell. It is pretty cool. It will be up there over the weekend. As soon as I get a hold of Pete and figure out where we're putting that stuff, it will be up on the site. On the WX Live site later on this morning. I'll have it there and have Arnold throw it up on the site for everybody to download and they can start using. Okay? And it will save you tons of time. Now, if you don't know the code for the language, go over to Google Translate, and you should be able to get the code for what language you want to go to. Okay, from what language to what language, whatever you want to go to. Go ahead and experiment and play with it. In essence, it's a REST service. I just wrote it myself instead, and literally I went through this entire website, every page, did all of the text and everything. As you can see here, there's a few pages, not many, but a few pages in there. I did all of that in one evening. From English to Spanish this way. So it was worth it. Well worth it doing it that way to me. Well worth it.
So once you start developing and you have both language, did you just start with the English and then you came back later and added Spanish to the
Well,
list?
well, now when I first started this, it was English only, and I added the Spanish, and then went back in and started doing the translate. From now on, since I've got the tool, I'll be doing them at the same time. As I
Oh,
put
okay.
something in, I'll hit the Control T, translate, throw it in there, and do the same thing. As
So
far as the
so.
messages on the info and things like that, I do that also.
Mhm.
Like if I had a message here, an info message. Um,
Oh yeah, all
this
your
this is
pop-up
not hard.
messages and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
it's
You
not
gonna
hard.
do it.
Okay. So only thing I'm doing here is I'm highlighting it,
Mhm.
and I'm going to hit the translate. Again, what happens is it brings over the screen, you see. I've got it right there. I hit the translate button, and there it
Bingo.
is in Spanish. Now when I click this, I've got my messages in both languages.
So you can have a ton of flags right there.
Well, yeah, I could. I could have a bunch of them in there, yeah.
Mm.
Okay? That's
So if
all
you
you
have
have
a
to do.
bunch of so if you have a bunch of flags there on line two, what you're saying is if you pick the third language or the fourth language when you go in, you want it to automatically know which language is going
Yeah, it'd be nice.
to.
I mean, I could switch the language. I just gotta, the problem is that the WinDev environment, you'd have to go over. If I'm going to, let's say I'm going to do English, Spanish, and German,
Hmm.
well, I have to change in essence how I do that. Okay, because at the moment, what would happen here is that I would get English to Spanish only.
And you,
And then
and
I
no
have to
matter where
change
you're
my
at.
language. Yeah. Now I could use my parameters to change it to German, but the problem is that I would also have to go over here to the tools options and change the translate here and change this to German also.
Oh,
Okay?
because it only does
Because
one at a time.
right, right.
Mm.
Now it's a lot faster. I mean, I can guarantee you it's a lot faster. But it's to me, if I'm going to do 3 or 4 languages,
Hmm.
um, more than likely the tool, that $500 dongle tool,
Hmm.
to export it all would be worth the price for that, because in essence what I would do at that point is I would export everything. It gives it to me in a kind of a spreadsheet type thing, and then I would use my same tool that same component, and have me a system that rips through the file itself and puts the other version on there. Let me look at it, and then put it back in.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do too.
Yeah, I mean, but one language I don't need to do that.
No,
But if I'm doing
and
2 or 3, yeah,
to do adjustments too, right? So.
yeah, because then you can re-import it back in, and then all of your languages are set. Again, it has to deal with what your deal is. That's why I wrote it as a component, because then I can later on I can have you give me the file. This is the format of the file, and I'll translate it for you. What I plan on doing before the end of the month or so, and not the end of this month, maybe the end of next month, is I'll have a website set up for the translation where you'll upload your file, and it will return you back your file via email of the entire thing translated.
Oh, you're going to be a translation service.
Yeah, it's to a point. To a point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
I'm not going to
SS.
look for syntax errors and stuff, things like this, because a lot of times translation from one language to another can get kind of screwed up on the syntax. You'll still have to get that verified by somebody, but at least the raw get it done, and you're moving along and let somebody look at it and say, okay, that does say that, but
Go fix it.
yeah, it's
Well,
a
the
little bit
problem
wrong.
is if you do a mass bulk one,
Yeah.
would you redo the whole thing every time or just,
No,
you
you'd
know what I
only do it
mean?
once. See, if
Well,
you do a mass bulk one and bring it down and import it in your program, then I may only have to change one or two of them on the fly, and I can use the other program.
because I have the other one just like you do.
Yeah.
But what
The
I'm
mass
saying
one?
is, yeah, the WD. What do you call that? I just saw it right here. It's the WD message and init, int, WD MSG. Isn't that it?
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh. Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I want to
Time to
thank
get.
everybody being here. And appreciate everybody
Oh,
this morning. Be good
hey.
at it. Wait a minute. Somebody's
Well,
asking.
the Canadian just showed up.
In the WD message, you get all of them at the same time, Chris. WD message is for the internal message, but again, it only gives you a file. I think the flag just shows what it is translated, not what it is translated to. Well, this flag is whatever the heck I want it to be.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
People are typing. You
Yeah,
need to
you
get
can do
off.
that with the info. Yes, Chris, you can certainly do that for the info. All right. So y'all be good at it. I got to go to work. Brian, I translated everything and you're too late, and I didn't put a single on the end of it, so you're on your own, Brian.
Okay.
Holler at me later. I'll give you a hand with it if you need to. Okay?
Later, guys.
All right. See y'all later.
Have a great